Next up at UFC Vegas 100, we got the co-main event of the evening. We got Cody Garbrandt taking on Miles Johns. Cody Garbrandt, former world champion, 14-6 in his career. He is 2-3 in his last 5, coming off that submission loss to Deiveson Figueiredo at UFC 300. Taking on Miles Johns, 15-2 in his career, 3-1-1 in his last 5, but really 4-1 on a 4-fight win streak. There was a win in there that was overturned for some pissing. Cody Garbrandt, former champion of the world, and he won that belt with one of the greatest championship performances we've ever seen. But that was like 9 years ago. That was a while. And it's a shame because Cody Garbrandt could have been the next big thing. He had very good wrestling. He had incredible movement. He's got good, fast, clean hands with some power. The problem is his next 2 fights after winning the belt, he had his opponent rocked, TJ Dillashaw. TJ was almost knocked out. He came charging forward like a maniac. Charging forward like a maniac, TJ Dillashaw knocked him out cold, and his chin never recovered. It just never recovered. Came back too quick. It happened again. And ever since then, you just don't know what you're going to get with a Cody Garbrandt fight because he always has all the talent. Skill for skill, he's better than most. But if he gets hit real hard, I don't know if he'll still be there. We also don't necessarily know the game plan because we don't know where his head is at. But Cody Garbrandt, a victim of his own aggression. He's taking on Miles Johns. Miles Johns, strong wrestler. He's got heavy hands, good explosive speed. He seems to have a love-hate relationship with wrestling. Started his career as purely a wrestler. And then he knocked a couple of people out, then just started knocking people out. Stopped wrestling entirely. Then more recently, he got back to his roots, started mixing things up, shooting takedowns again. In his last fight, he did just beat Douglas Silva de Andrade, but he did that with striking, but Douglas is built like a bowling ball. Taking him down is not an easy thing to do. Cody Garbrandt is young. He's only 33 years old. I'm surprised every time I break him down. When I did the graphic, I was like, I thought he was 38. So he, technically speaking, right now could be like in the prime of his career. But it feels like he's past his prime, and he has been for a little while now. Without seeing his age, I mentioned, I would have assumed he was closing in on 40. He also had us all thinking he was a very good, very high-level wrestler. And I thought he was, and we had seen glimpses of the good wrestling in the past. But then Deiveson Figueiredo just pushed him around, took him down, controlled him on the ground, ultimately submitted him. And because of that, I got to go Miles Johns. We got a Cody Garbrandt whose chin isn't the best. That's not his fault. He can't control that. A Cody Garbrandt who was just taken down by a 135-pounder. Taking on Miles Johns. Or 125-pounder, sorry. Taking on Miles Johns, who is an actual wrestler, who has big, heavy hands. I'm going to pick Miles John here. I got a little bet on Miles at plus 135. The only thing, sorry, minus 135, plus would have been nice. Minus 135. The only thing that would concern me here is Miles is just sitting on right hands, spamming and bombing, and they're not connecting, and then Cody is the better fighter. But I'm going with Miles. What do you think, Jakey boy?
So your only concern about Miles Johns is that he fights like Miles Johns fights.
Dude, 2 fights ago he was working it. He was working it.
Which is a very interesting thing to say, because if you watch Miles Johns, he had cleaned it up at some points, right? But I guarantee, just like everyone else, Miles Johns has seen the highlights. He's seen Cody Garbrandt get knocked out. He wants to be a guy that also knocks out Cody Garbrandt. I know he's a wrestler, and he will mix in takedowns, and he has good takedowns, and he can probably take down Cody Garbrandt. I don't think, multiple times successfully, but maybe a 1 or 2 times. He's not going to have the control of a guy like Deiveson, right? Deiveson's a guy that gets on you and you're not really going to go anywhere. Miles Johns is a wrestler. I sat there front row at the Apex, and I had to fucking do everything I could to will this guy to win against Cody fucking Gibson. Now, Cody Gibson looked fucking fantastic just 1 week ago during his fight, but Miles Johns was tired. Miles Johns was gassed, and he dogged that shit out, but that was all me in that fight. Come on, Miles. Come on. He thinks there's a roster, Miles. Roster, Miles. I was screaming my fucking head off for Miles Johns to win that fight. He is a guy that is powerful early, starts to slow down late. And if he starts slowing down with the hand speed and takedown defense of Cody Garbrandt, he's in big fucking trouble. And if you watch Cody Garbrandt, He's getting caught by guys that are either really, really fast or throwing in nice combinations, right? When people extend combinations, they can catch Cody, like a fucking TJ Dillashaw, like a Munoz, like a Kai Kara-France, who just beat him with speed. Miles Johns isn't that type of striker. He is a one-and-done, throw the heavy shit. A guy like Cody Garbrandt can see that shit coming a mile away. I believe Cody Garbrandt's going to be the better striker, and if he can just avoid the power, which I think he can see the telegraph power coming, I think he can take this fight over even late in the second, third rounds. I think this fight looks like the Trevin Giles fight, where Cody just staying safe. Obviously, the smaller Apex cage is going to be a little bit harder, but Miles John's a guy that will just kind of stalk you, right? I mean, he's not going to be like crazy pressure, and Cody's footwork, I think it's going to be a lot of that, like the Trevin Jones fight, and then as the fight goes on and Miles starts getting a little bit slower and sloppier, you're going to see those jabs, you're going to see that stuff start adding up for Cody, and he just got to stay safe, see the big shots coming, and I think he's an opportunity to dominate this fight.
I mean, Cody's the better fighter for sure.
And when we saw him at 303, I looked that motherfucker in the eye. I looked down at him in the eye, and I said, look, I swear, I looked him right in the eye, and I said, hey, keep working, man. And he looked at me, and he said, I will, I promise. And I could sense in that, and it sounds stupid, but I could sense the way he said that this dude isn't fucking done. This guy works his ass off. This guy wants to be back to where he was. I don't know if he's going to get to that level, but if he is a fraction of what he was at one point, which you've seen flashes here and there still, he's beating a guy like Miles Johns.
He's the better fighter. I mean, he's one of the best. I can't say of all time because he just had the belt, the one, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that was literally one of the best performances of all
that
time.
performance was might literally be the best performance at that weight class of all time. That was prime Dominic Cruz. The Dominic Cruz that beat Demetrius Johnson,
might have been one of the best
big deal.
performances of all time, not just the fucking bantamweight.
No, he looked unbelievable in that fight. And he looked unbelievable in his next fight until he started running forward like a madman because he almost had TJ Dillashaw knocked out, and then he got slept. Literally, he doesn't have a chin today because of those TJ Dillashaw fights, because he got too reckless, too excited, and the chin never recovered. Basically what I was saying about what I'm worried about with Bernardo Sopai. He's just not fighting a guy that hits that hard. So this, hey, listen, if Cody wins, I'm not going to be surprised. I just feel like those days are behind us. But this should be an interesting fight to watch. This is a good co-main event. This is a very well-matched co-main event for the UFC.
And they moved this because this originally was on the prelims.
Was it really?
Yeah, and then everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? And they switched it up and made it the co-main.
Prelim is crazy. Yeah, this should not be on the prelims. $7,900 in DraftKings Fantasy, $8,300 in DraftKings Fantasy. Yeah, I mean, the winner probably scores really, really well here, but it could be a bit of a staring contest, right? If Cody's afraid to completely close that distance because Miles like, whack, throwing hard. But I do think if you're on the right side of this, you're going to make some very real money. This is a very well-priced fight, and you can unlock all the picks, the bets, the tools, the round line leans, and everything else right now. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member.
I wouldn't be surprised if Cody just counter wrestles him too. He knows how to wrestle, and Miles can't be.
Well, why didn't he counter wrestle Figgy? That drove me nuts because I loved Cody in that fight.
Because Figgy's like a fucking jiu-jitsu fucking ace. I wouldn't wrestle fucking.
Well, why didn't he counter wrestle? I'm saying.
No, I'm not saying counter wrestle. I'm saying, well, that guy, once he gets on top of you, you're in big trouble, and that's what happened. And honestly, what Cody.
When you're saying counter wrestle, you don't mean defense.
No, I'm saying he should counter. He should go. He should attack.
Oh, I thought you meant like defense.
And I think I predicted that Cody Garbrandt would be too active to try to get back to his feet because of his wrestling brace. Instead of staying safe, he made mistakes trying to get back to his feet.
Yeah. $1.99 from Patrick Watson coming to Tampa with Jacob Angelo. We'll have a beer for you. I am not. My wife, I thought I was. I was like 90%. I was like, Tiff, Jacob's going to Tampa. We should go. And she's like, yeah, we can do that. And we were heading down the path of looking at flights and figuring out we have family in Fort Myers. Where do we fly? And then all of a sudden we actually pulled up the family calendar. We're like, oh shit, she bought 10 tickets to this freaking Christmas spectacular thing. And it sounds dumb. Do you remember it went viral last year, Jacob? That church thing where they're swinging from the rafters and they have animals walking through? It went viral. It was like Texas mega church Christmas show. It's that. It's literally, it sells out in 5 minutes. She was on the website hitting refresh like this, like trying to get Taylor Swift tickets. So I will not be going. I am trying to go to, I texted it to Jakey yesterday. Whatever the first pay-per-view is in 2025. This way, that'll give me good 6 months. We'll go the first one in January. We'll do International Fight Week and then just Every 6 months. Seems
I
like
was
a good cycle.
I was supposed to go on a cruise with her to start the year.
I mean, I like cruises. What's the buffet situation? I get my money's worth on a cruise.